This is Sunrise Extra, streaming live on Wave Now.
Hey, good Thursday morning to you. Thanks for joining us here on Wave Sunrise Extra. So many more headlines, more weather to get to, even though we already know what the weather is. We don't really need Carson here, right?
No.
I'm just going to go home.
Just hot.
Yeah,
just
it's
hot.
going to feel like triple digits later today.
Yeah, we're getting into that dangerous territory again with
Yeah.
those feels like temperatures, so we're just asking everybody to take it easy outside. Let's get you outside this morning. I'll take you to New Albany on the SkyTrack camera. Nice start to the day, a bit hazy. There's no air quality concerns today, by the way, so that's good. But you notice our temperature here in the metro this morning still in the upper 70s, 77. Last check at Ali International Airport. Most of you in the mid-70s outside of the city. 75 in Bardstown and E-Town this morning, 72 in Corydon, 74 in Salem, 73 in Jeffersonville. The cool spot, North Vernon, Indiana, checking in at 70. Many more counties in Wave Country are under a heat advisory today. Today's heat advisory goes from noon until 8 o'clock. And this is because of those heat index values, obviously back above the triple-digit mark, but maybe getting closer to 105, maybe as hot as 107 with that feels like temperature later on this afternoon. That's when the heat can get on the dangerous side. So make sure you're taking it easy as you're out and about today. Take plenty of breaks in the AC if you have to work outside, and of course stay hydrated as well. We'll talk about a small chance for a few downpours this afternoon, and we'll also look ahead to your weekend forecast, all coming up in just a few minutes.
Thank you, Carson. A breaking news update right now. LMPD now says a man was shot on West Market Street this morning. Police have had parts of Market blocked off near 32nd Street since about 5 a.m. Investigators say the man was shot in the arm. He was taken to the hospital and is expected to survive, but LMPD right now is searching for the shooter. If you know anything, you're asked to call 574 LMPD.
We're following a breaking news alert this morning to a man dead after a fiery crash overnight in Louisville.
LMPD says a driver crashed into a tree at the intersection of Churchman Avenue and Cayuga Street about 10:30 last night. They say the car caught fire and the driver died. The driver's name has not been released. Police are investigating what led to the crash and how that fire started. New this morning, some city leaders and community activists are reacting to comments made by LMPD Chief Paul Humphrey about a recent homicide case.
It comes after continued calls for the department to further investigate what began as a missing persons case. Latasha White was reported missing on May 1st and found dead around Newport Road 10 days later. She had been shot to death. Her employer reported that she hadn't been to work in several days, which relatives say was unlike her. But LMPD says they didn't find any signs of foul play and claimed the family didn't provide information that White was in imminent danger. Later in May, Chief Humphrey said his officers exhausted their options of what they could do legally, but police recently arrested a man in connection to the case who they say was in a relationship with White. Yesterday, he spoke about the case during the department's briefing.
This is a very complicated case, and kudos to these officers for making this case. I know there was a lot of criticism thrown at LMPD at the onset, but I will tell you that Tasha White's behavior placed her in the position she ultimately ended up in. There are a lot of moving parts to this case.
44-year-old Jamie Shelby is charged in White's death. He's charged with domestic violence, murder, robbery, and being a felon with a gun. But those remarks are drawing criticism from people in the community. Louisville Urban League President Lyndon Pryor posted about the comments on Facebook, calling it, quote, cold, unfeeling, disconnected, and frankly, a small thing for a person in this position to say. Metro Councilwoman Tammy Hawkins will speak about those comments today. That'll be at Jefferson Square Park at 10 this morning. We will be there. We'll keep you updated on what she says on air and wave3.com.
Today, 3 people arrested while protesting outside of the federal court are expected to be in court. Bianca Austin, Rosario Matola, and Andrea Anderson were protesting outside of the sentencing of former LMPD chief officer Brett Hankison. Hankison shot into Breonna Taylor's apartment the night she was killed by a police raid. Austin is Taylor's aunt. All 3 are facing disorderly conduct and obstructing a highway charges. Some community leaders and immigration experts claim that Louisville Mayor Craig Greenberg's recent policy change could be devastating for the city's immigrant community.
The mayor says LMDC will reinstate a policy detaining immigrant inmates for 48 hours. It will allow Homeland Security to take custody of an inmate if they violated immigration laws. Mayor Greenberg says he made the decision in part to avoid ICE from taking over the streets of Louisville. Critics of the change say they are worried immigrants in Louisville will be scared of even reporting crimes or looking for help, fearing detainment or arrest.
It sends the wrong message to immigrant families. Hey, our city is cooperating with ICE, and they're already living fearful. Many of them are afraid to go in public places.
To visit some of these communities where these people live and really talk to them and see what they feel like or what their needs may be.
The U.S. Attorney General is responding to Mayor Greenberg's decision to change the LMDC policy. Pam Bondi tweeted that Louisville dropping its policy was a result of a, quote, strong written warning from their office. She said in part, quote, this should set an example to other cities. Instead of forcing us to sue you, which we will without hesitation, follow the law, get rid of sanctuary policies, and work with us to fix the illegal immigration crisis. Years ago, police from Breckinridge County, Kentucky, investigated what they called one of the most gruesome rapes they had ever heard of. The man convicted of that crime will soon be released from prison for good behavior. Ernest Pine was convicted in 2009 for a brutal sexual assault and attempted murder of his Hardinsburg neighbor. Neighbors told police that Pine cut her throat, chest, and stomach during the rape. Pine was sentenced to 20 years in prison, but a judge agreed to let him out 3 years early. The victim's husband says he accepts the judge's decision.
There's nothing we can do about it. It's the judicial system, and we live with that. He lived 2 houses down from us at Rough River Lake, and, you know, there was no reasoning, no harsh words, nothing. All he and his wife ever did was walk their dogs, and we spoke. That was it.
Pine is scheduled to be released on August 19th. He cannot have any contact with the victim or her family.
2 men are indicted in the death of a man found wrapped in duct tape and left on the street in West Louisville. In October, officers found 34-year-old Mitchell Jackson's body at the corner of 18th Street and Muhammad Ali Boulevard. LMPD says he was shot and killed, wrapped in tape, and dragged by a car for several blocks. 35-year-old Chadwick Fleming was arrested days after this discovery, and we learned Devon Collins is also charged in connection to the murder. While Fleming is specifically accused of murdering Jackson, both he and Collins are also charged with abuse of a corpse and tampering with evidence. LMPD says it needs new resources to prevent children from becoming victims of gun violence. So far this year, 10 children have been killed in the metro, and another 33 were shot but survived.
Wave News reporter Logan Perone learned more about how police are responding to the violence and the obstacles the department faces.
LMPD knows it has a problem on its hands.
Juveniles involved in crime, theft, violent crime, all of the above is a problem.
During LMPD's bi-weekly press briefing, Chief Paul Humphrey says the lack of space for young offenders makes finding a solution even harder. 16-year-old Arian Carr was charged in a non-fatal shooting on Marshall Street in June, just a few days before he was shot and killed on 45th Street.
And there are a lot of gaps in the system. Part of it is not having a facility here where we can house juveniles. Part of it is having to release juveniles on crimes that they should be incarcerated for.
Both the former Jefferson County Detention Center in downtown Louisville and the state-run Juvenile Detention Center in Linden are being upgraded. Right now, neither are housing juvenile offenders. Renovations to the downtown site are in the works, but still a long ways away. In a statement Wednesday, Justice and Public Safety Cabinet officials confirmed the state received the deed this April and have solicited construction bids. That facility is projected to open in the spring of 2027 with 64 beds for high-level male offenders. The state-run facility in Linden closed for an expansion and security upgrades in September. That project should be completed in mid-2026 and will nearly triple the number of beds. With the city looking to get a grip on youth crime and violence, Humphrey says these facilities can sometimes be the safest option for kids to get help and structure.
And that's a sad state of affairs when we're saying that, but that is the facts that we're dealing with.
For the foreseeable future, it's a resource Jefferson County won't have.
In an update to the state lawmakers last May, the cabinet held a total of 238 juveniles across 8 detention centers. LMPD would not provide us with the number of kids officers have arrested and released due to a lack of space. Well, a traffic alert to tell you about right now. Crews are closing part of 8th Street in Jeffersonville today. Lanes will be closed from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. going from Cherry to Mechanic Street. Crews will be using ground-penetrating radar to check for any flaws in the pipes and see if the road needs any maintenance. Plus, significant highway closures for downtown Louisville. Hospital curve of I-65 southbound will be closed this weekend. The stretch will be shut down tomorrow night at 8 o'clock and partially reopened Monday morning at 5. Crews want to fix expansion joints in a spot where potholes have kept reappearing over the past few years. Officials are only planning to reopen one southbound lane on I-65 through Wednesday, though, so expect some major delays there. Work to repair the joints on 65 northbound will happen at a later date.
And we'll be right back, so stay with us here. A former LaRue County Jail lieutenant will soon learn his punishment after admitting to using unreasonable force against an inmate. New court documents show Brad Gerard is pleading guilty to a misdemeanor charge. Prosecutors say he pepper sprayed an inmate, even though the inmate posed no threat to Gerard in August of 2021. Gerard was originally charged with a federal crime called deprivation of rights under the color of law. His sentencing is set for October 15th.
A semi-truck driver who pleaded guilty to stabbing someone in a case of road rage can avoid prison time. Court records show Daniel Andrews pleaded guilty to battery and aggressive driving. The attack happened last April off I-65 near Henryville. Indiana State Police say Andrews and another semi-driver were brake checking each other. Police say Andrews and the other driver pulled over, got into a fight, and Andrews stabbed the other driver. As part of a plea deal, Andrews will serve 2 years of probation. A Kentucky man who was out on parole for burglary is now back in jail again on a new robbery charge, this time in Indiana. Perry County Sheriff's deputies say Gerald Weddle of Mount Washington broke into a home near Rome, Indiana on May 30th. Weddle was identified after police received several tips after posting his photo. During their investigation, deputies found out Weddle was already on parole from federal prison for previous burglaries and thefts throughout southern Indiana and Kentucky. He was arrested in Cooper County, Missouri, and he'll be sent back to Indiana for the burglary and theft charges. buses.
Neighbors will soon have a chance to tell Metro leaders what safety improvements they would like added to a popular road near U of L's campus. Public Works wants to redesign Industry Road to better handle current traffic. The Metro plans to change the road from its existing 4 lanes to 2 lanes in each direction and put a turn lane too in the center. One proposed plan includes a bike lane. The other includes shoulder markings to show drivers they are not car lanes. You can vote on the plan you prefer by going to this story on wave3.com.
Yeah, that's right down by U of L, and those students are going to be going back to school soon.
Yeah, pretty soon.
Yeah.
And it's still hot.
I can't remember school starting this early.
Yeah.
I feel like our summer breaks were a lot longer.
Yeah.
Indiana goes back very early.
Next week, I think some districts
the 31st, I believe.
It will not feel like we're back in school. It's going to stay pretty hot for quite some time. As we talk about the big story in the weather world, it is indeed going to be that heat. That's the live view from Simpsonville. Gorgeous sunrise out there this morning. A mix of sun and clouds is with us, and that's really going to be the case all day. You're about ready to head out the door. Here's what you need to wear on this Thursday. A lot of light clothing, light colored clothing. Definitely a good idea if you can. 95 degrees, our forecast high. Grab the shades, grab the sunscreen, especially if you're working outside today. And just to be on the safe side, grab the umbrella. I don't think many of you will need an umbrella today, but because it's so hot, because it's so humid, we can't entirely rule out a couple of downpours dotting the map later on this afternoon. It's only a 20% chance, and this is the same forecast, quite frankly, for at least the next week. When you look at those high temperatures ranging from 95 today, tomorrow, and Saturday, to as hot as 97 by Tuesday of next week. And I will say, Monday and Tuesday in particular, not only look to be the hottest days of this heat wave, but we may get close to 100 degrees for those actual high temperatures by Monday and Tuesday. But there is relief that I'll show you in the 10-day in a second. Let me get you outside this morning. Once again to New Albany. Gorgeous start to the day. Not quite as hazy as yesterday. We don't have any air quality concerns either. 77 our current temperature. Not much of a heat index just yet, but you still see that dew point in the low to mid 70s. That's a huge reason why. We'll see those feels like temperatures well above 100 this afternoon, closer to 105. High pressure in control. It's over the mountains of eastern Tennessee, western North Carolina. Draw your attention to our northwest. Up in Iowa this morning, a lot of rain coming down. And if you look closely, there's a frontal boundary in the north part of the U.S. as well. That front is going to get closer to us by this weekend especially. The problem is that front's going to stall out to our north, up closer to Indianapolis. So what does that mean? That means it stays hot. It stays humid, and the higher storm chances that might give us more substantial relief, that's going to stay trapped to our north as well. In other words, this heat's not going anywhere anytime soon. 95 our forecast high. Heat advisory kicks in at noon today for most of Wave Country and goes until 8 o'clock tonight. A look at Futurecast keeping us mostly dry this morning and into the early afternoon. But as we get past 4 or 5 o'clock during that hottest part of the day, we can't rule out a couple of downpours dotting the map, especially here in Louisville. A lot of times the heat island of the city can set off a few downpours on a hot, humid day like this. We get past 8 or 9 p.m., we start to lose that heat, and that's when most of those downpours will start to fade away. Here comes your 10-day earliest alert. Same old for at least the next week, with those highs in the mid-90s and a small downpour chance each afternoon. If you're looking for relief, you'll have to wait until about a week from now. That's when a cold front moves through, gives us higher storm chances, and we're hopeful we can cool down into the 80s for the first few days of August.
Thank you, Carson. Organizers are calling this year's Cars in the Commonwealth a place for horsepower and heart because the event is giving back to 3 nonprofits.
This weekend, people can see a diverse lineup of automobiles, the classics, modern cars, plus they have food. So many things happening out there. Wait, news reporter Marissa Berg joining us this morning with more on what you can expect. And Marissa, not just cars, apparently. What?
Oh, my goodness.
I got Scout, guys.
Hey, Scout.
We talked about horsepower. I said I was going to do it. So this is just one of the great parts of being at Hermitage Farm is you get to see beautiful horses like Scout, while you also get to see the array of cars that's going to be on display at this year's Cars in the Commonwealth. I got Eric and Michael with us this morning. So Michael is the man behind the speakers boom booming for those new cars for those teens. Good morning, Michael. And I know those teens are going to be lucky to get into those cars.
Yeah, well, they First Car Project started bringing the cars last year to us. We do the Apple CarPlay, Android Auto for the hands-free driving. Added backup camera to it, and then if it needs new speakers, we'll throw new speakers in it. Down the road, if they want to do a dash camera remote start, we can add that as well.
So these cars are just one of the many benefits that are going to be given out to different people this weekend, because you got the raffle, Eric.
That's right. Yep. So we'll have a raffle. We'll have an auction. All that stuff can be found on our website, carsinthecommonwealth.com. But yeah, a bunch of great prizes and, of course, a bunch of great cars.
Absolutely. And when you describe this event, especially this being its first year at Hermitage Farm, how are you explaining that to people?
Well, I tell you, first of all, any venue for any party is important, right? And so this is the best venue that Louisville has to offer, and it really allows us to expand, kind of what we're doing. We'll have several different sections. We'll have a lot of things going on for every bit of the family. So we're really fired up.
And all the action is this weekend on Saturday, starts at noon, goes until about 5, and there's just so much to look forward to here at Hermitage Farm, especially when you got it's so much more. Marissa Burke, Wave News.
Thank you, Marissa, and thank you, Scout, too.
That's so sweet. All right, go right off now into the sunrise.
Right. I want to watch her get off.
Yeah,
That's
really, we
show.
should stay there for that. Okay, we'll be right back. Well, JCPS heads back to school August 7th, and now Wave Country is coming together to help make sure kids have everything they need. JCPS is hosting their Back to School Blitz today, so families who need school uniforms can shop for them at JCPS's Clothing Assistance Program located on West Jefferson Street. It's a big warehouse. You can find new uniform pants, uniform shirts, underwear, socks, belts, hoodies, jackets, shoes. This is for students who go to schools with uniform requirements. All students with appointments are welcome. This Back to School Blitz goes on through August 2nd.
Metro Councilwoman Josie Raymond is hosting the third Camp Taylor Community Night. Tonight's event will have a family field day with the Louisville Sports Commission and free soccer clinic with the Lucidium Racing Foundation. During the event, local agencies will offer sports-related activities and community-based services. It's from 5 to 8 at Camp Taylor Memorial Park. Well, thanks so much for joining us. We have plenty more coming up. Stick with us here on Wave Sunrise Extra.
This Wave News Update is sponsored by Oxmoor Auto Group.
Good morning, I'm Shannon Kogan. We have an update to that breaking news we brought you this morning on Wave Sunrise. LMPD now says a man was shot on West Market Street this morning. Police had parts of the road blocked off near 32nd Street since about 5 a.m. Investigators say that this man was shot in the arm. He was taken to the hospital and is expected to survive. Right now, LMPD is searching for the shooter. Let's go to meteorologist Carson Meredith, and boy, it's going to be really steamy today.
Yeah, Shannon, this heat is not going anywhere either, but you know what? At least we have a beautiful sunrise. That, of course, a live view from Simpsonville. You see that mix of sun and clouds. That'll be with us pretty much all day. We're at 77 here in Louisville, low to mid-70s across the rest of Wave Country. And the big story today, not only, of course, is the actual temperatures back in the 90s, but it's going to be that humidity. That's going to push those heat index numbers near 105 or higher. So for that reason, a heat advisory now in effect for many of our Wave Country counties. Starts at noon today and goes until 8 o'clock tonight. That heat index here in Louisville likely peaking between 105 and 107 this afternoon. And we'll keep that trend going for the next week as this heat wave just gets started. Let's look at the roadways. We close in on 7:30 this morning, and we're going to notice on Max 2 there are no significant delays at this point. The roads are in good shape. We did have that accident earlier this morning on Waterson near I-65. That has since been cleared up. As we zoom in on that particular area, you're going to notice that those roads are moving along just fine. As far as those speeds, a little bit slow on 65 northbound as you're getting onto the Waterson, but you see where that accident was earlier. It has since been cleared. A look at the traffic cameras across the rest of the metro. Moving along just fine. Just make sure you buckle up and drive safe. We'll have another update for you here on Wave in about 30 minutes.
And good Thursday morning to you. I want to thank you all for sticking with us here on Wave Sunrise Extra. New Chapel EMS says the Jamie Knoll scandal has bled the organization financially dry after years of fallout with the former Clark County Sheriff stealing millions of dollars from the entity. The ambulance service has now filed for bankruptcy. Wave News reporter Julia Richardson talked to their lawyer.
What could we do for the community? What could we do to build our business to do more for Southern Indiana if we didn't just have to waste our money?
That's the question staff at New Chapel EMS are now asking themselves after the Jamie Knoll scandal turned their company upside down. leading them to cut their staff from 50 employees down to 11. Court records show Knoll stole more than $4 million from the organization to fund travel, gifts, automobiles, and other personal expenses. He's currently serving 12 years in prison for the theft. Knoll's wife and oldest daughter have also taken plea deals in this case. The company's lawyer, Coy Travis, says New Chapel EMS lost a lot of their business after the scandal, and it now has vehicles and equipment they no longer need. New Chapel has tried unsuccessfully to sell the equipment over the last couple of years.
That's what's led us to where we are now is by court order, we've had no choice but to keep paying for these things that we told everybody we couldn't afford anymore.
Travis says filing for Chapter 11 bankruptcy will not stop the company's operations, and employees will keep their jobs. He says it will just allow them to restructure in order to get back on their feet. And he's confident the bankruptcy court will reverse the state court's decisions.
There's nothing really controversial about what we're asking for here. Once all of the money off of all of this is taken care of and exhausted, then we will be able to emerge from this process and go forward with our business plan from there.
And Travis says after a tough couple of years, that's all his company really wants to do.
We really just want to be able to move forward and do good for the community and close the chapter on the part of our history that Jamie Knoll defined.
And Travis says he hopes the bankruptcy process will only take a couple of months, but it really varies based on the situation. New this morning, University of Kentucky leaders say they'll have to lay off some workers because of federal spending cuts. UK's Director of Issues Management and Crisis Communication says there will be some reduction in their workforce due to the big, beautiful bill recently signed into law by President Trump. The director says the College of Agriculture, Food and Environment are having difficult conversations about how to move forward. University leaders hope to have a better handle on how many employees are affected over the next few weeks. Kentucky state leaders are hoping a new federal law targeting drug dealers will lead to fewer overdose deaths in the state. The HALT Fentanyl Act places related substances under the same controls as other Schedule I drugs like heroin. The law would lead to more jail time for anyone caught trafficking fentanyl. Bath County Coroner Andrew Owens, whose county has been impacted by fentanyl, says this law sends a strong message to traffickers.
We have to show these traffickers that there is consequences. These are not just overdose cases. These are somebody's children, somebody's mother, father, friend.
Owens says he's seen fentanyl-related deaths decrease in his area recently, but even one death is too many. A brand new school in southern Indiana is cleaning up the mess from heavy rain that leaked into the building. Recent storms dropped around 6.5 inches of water on top of Charlestown Elementary School. The school says it was too much for their roof drain to hold. So now a contractor and engineers are working on the solution to that problem. They say the school will be ready for the first day of classes, and that is just next week.
It's the comfort
Governor
and
Andy
security.
Beshear is promising
how they look.
He's promising more long-term support as eastern Kentucky communities continue to recover 3 years after deadly widespread flooding. The governor visited Floyd County to mark the 3-year anniversary of the flooding yesterday. In one of the communities he visited, 14 new homes have been built.
Comfort and security. You know how they look stable, not scared, worrying about anything other than flooding, because there are enough other worries in life. They feel relieved, but I see a ton of joy.
45 people died in the flooding from 2022. Well, the search is on to find the person who vandalized Thurman Hutchins Park on River Road. Louisville Parks and Recreation says it looks like someone drove a car or any other kind of vehicle in circles over one of the multi-purpose fields. The damage done will cost thousands of dollars to repair. So if you know who did this damage, you are asked to call LMPD. A new warning from police this morning after detectives say a suspect stole dozens of ATM customers' information. LMPD says Luciano Giovanni installed a PIN pad overlay, a camera to record PIN numbers, and a card skimmer in at least 2 ATMs. The cameras could record PIN numbers as they were typed into the machine. Officers found one compromised machine at the Circle K on South 3rd Street. The other machine was at a Thornton's on Cane Run Road. LMPD tells us it took days for anyone to notice the devices. They're warning customers to protect their financial information as best they can.
If you're at an ATM machine and the buttons are kind of hard to push or something to that that might be a sign that that might be an overlay over the top of it. Or if something just seems suspicious, if the card's going in a little bit different or something to that nature.
Our team tried contacting the business that had the compromised ATMs and asked them about the safety upgrades, but so far we have yet to hear back. We've learned a woman is facing charges accused of stealing people's bank information and spending thousands of dollars. According to an arrest citation, Anessa DeSarno used her position working at the Kentucky Expo Center to steal bank information. While she was working, DeSarno reportedly took pictures of people's bank or credit card information. Police say DeSarno then sent those photos from her work email to a personal email so she could then use the account information. Reports say she spent more than $14,000 and even tried to take out a loan in one of the victims' names. DeSarno is now charged with identity theft and credit card fraud. New on Sunrise, a nonprofit advocacy group wants the U.S. Supreme Court to look at a case involving a Kentucky church and the Beshear administration. And the case gained national attention when Maryville Baptist Church members went to an Easter service in the parking lot, violating Governor Andy Beshear's COVID pandemic orders, which banned mass gatherings. Officers took down license plate numbers and mailed people notices, telling them to quarantine for 14 days. But the Liberty Council is now arguing to the court that even though the church won an injunction and Beshear rescinded his mandate, the governor has not been held accountable for what they're calling, quote, unconstitutional lockdowns. And a reminder that the deadline to apply for FEMA after the April flooding is tomorrow. So anyone who sustained damage or loss caused by the severe storms, straight-line winds, flooding, landslides, even mudslides are encouraged to sign up. More than $27 million in assistance has already been approved to help people rebuild after that disaster. Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear also announced this week that the president approved their disaster funding for that flooding as well as May's tornadoes. Officials in counties that were hit hard in April say they're grateful for more help from FEMA and what they've done so far.
We have a lot of rebuilding to do. You know, we had 514 homes affected. I know we have over 500 people working with FEMA currently. They were here when the disaster was going on. They had boots on the ground. I think at one time we had over 200 people in Franklin County helping.
Now, Indiana will receive just over $15 million to help with its recovery efforts. That includes damage repairs from the severe flooding and tornadoes in the spring that we all remember so much. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with more Wave Sunrise Extra in 2 minutes. Thanks for staying with us here on Wave Sunrise Extra. Well, a baby born in Iowa is now 1 year old. A very happy birthday there, but That baby already holds a world record because Nash Keene set the record for the world's most premature baby, arriving in the world 133 days early. For the family, this past year has been a roller coaster of emotions, understandably so. Libby Randall has their story.
Anyone who has been around Nash Keene knows he's a happy, talkative, and giggly baby boy. His family and doctors call him a miracle.
We're immensely proud of Nash. We could not be prouder of him. He is truly a miracle.
Born at 133 days premature, Nash now holds Guinness World Record for the most premature baby.
Nash has a spunky personality. He's always happy. You rarely see him cry. He's always got a smile on his face, and his smile lights up a room.
While his journey is one of hope and happiness, his parents have been through a tragic loss. Molly and Randall found out they were pregnant in 2023, but unfortunately lost their daughter that September. 6 months later, they found out they were pregnant again, this time with Nash. At 20 weeks, Molly found out she was already 2 centimeters dilated. According to doctors, this can be a sign of preterm labor. Their hope was that he wouldn't be born too early.
And so we were kind of just like back in that, that scary situation where we didn't know what the outcome was going to be. Were we going to lose this one too,
From there, they went to the staff at University of Iowa Healthcare. Miraculously, they were able to help guide Molly on this journey.
I vividly remember the conversation with the parents when I told them that his chance of survival is 0. And again, when you've never had anyone survive at 21 plus 0 weeks, that's what the data says at that gestational age.
On July 5th, 2024, at 21 weeks, Nash was born. Dr. Amy Stanford was there when he was delivered and ran his resuscitation.
When babies are born at 21 weeks, we're not sure if they're going to be strong enough or big enough for our tiniest equipment to be able to do what it needs to do.
But Nash was, even though he weighed less than a can of pop. That whole time, his family and doctors never lost hope. With the help of a specialized medical team, he reached milestone after milestone.
It's so rewarding now to see him. You would have no idea when you look at him that he is the world's most premature baby.
Celebrating his first birthday this month was something unimaginable a year ago. He's not only a world record holder, but the biggest gift to his loved ones.
But I'm thankful that we are, because that means that he's here with us. So that's why we're so proud of the record.
A sense of pride and a journey they will always share.
His birthday was on July 5th. He weighed just 10 ounces when he was born, and that's even smaller than a grapefruit. But very happy birthday to him, and glad to see him happy and so adorable there too. Well, new this morning, tuna salad sold at some stores in Indiana are being recalled because of a possible listeria contamination. The tuna salad was sold under the Reese's Fine Foods brand. The use-by dates were either July 16th through the 18th or July 17th through the 19th. The FDA says no illnesses have been reported, but if you have the tuna salad, you should throw it out or return it to the store for a full refund. Uber riders, your app might get a new updated feature soon. Uber is launching a new Women Preferences feature in some parts of the U.S. It'll allow women drivers to see a women drivers option when they request a ride. Women drivers will also have the option to request trips with women riders, including during peak earning hours. The company says testing in overseas markets generated overwhelmingly positive feedback. The pilot feature is starting in Los Angeles, San Francisco, and Detroit in the next few weeks. No word yet on if it could come to our area. Meta, the parent company of Instagram and Facebook, introduces new safety features aimed at protecting teens who use its platforms. They include information about accounts that message them and an option to block and report accounts with one tap. Meta also announced that it has removed thousands of adults' accounts that were leaving sexualized comments or requesting sexual images for kids under the age of 13. Well, an East Coast staple will be welcoming customers to their first Kentucky location, Wawa, opening their doors in just about 15 minutes. The new location on Preston Crossing Boulevard will open at 8 o'clock. The gas station is known for its signature food and drink options like their hoagies. We got a first look during a soft opening yesterday. Wawa's leadership team says they're excited to expand their company in the region.
Look, you know, it's taken us 61 years to get here based on the 1964 open. You know, we focused primarily in Pennsylvania. It took us a while to get to Florida, but I can tell you, based on the great reception we've gotten in the Midwest, we now know this was the right decision.
And Wawa plans to open more locations in Kentucky in the near future. So welcome to Louisville. I'm sure it will get a very warm welcome from everyone visiting. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. Well, tributes have continued to pour in this week after the death of rock legend Ozzy Osbourne. A musical group of kids here in Louisville also has a very special connection to the artist. Wanted to take right there. Wanted to take this video showing off the Louisville Leopard percussionist. Their spotlight, they had a spotlight version of the hit Crazy Train, and it went viral. And Osbourne actually saw it himself. So the group was invited to Nashville to perform a private concert for Osbourne for his TV show Ozzy and Jack's World Detour. Wave met with the Louisville Leopard percussionists, asking them how they'll remember the rock star.
It did kind of hit me because he's not the person that I knew was not the guy that you see on stage and on the TV show and all. He was so kind, and he was a sweet man, and he was just so gentle with the kids. He was like a granddad. So you wouldn't think, you know, Ozzy Osbourne is being sweet, but he was just so kind and sweet.
Such a sweet connection there. The rocker was so thrilled with their Crazy Train cover, he even gave them a $10,000 donation, and I'm sure memories that will last a lifetime. Well, we're getting our first look at some of the new players that will be leading the Louisville football team this fall. Head coach Jeff Brom previewed the upcoming season at ACC Media Days. Year 3 of the Brom era brings us a third straight starting quarterback from the transfer portal as Miller Moss takes over the offense. The USC transfer says he picked the cards for both what they can do on the field and also for the people off the field.
To win and compete at a high level was certainly a part of that, and I think we absolutely have that opportunity this year. I think the ability to develop within a pro-style offense, like Chris touched on previously, was important to me. And I think just being around good and decent human beings, I think, you know, that can kind of get lost on us a lot.
The Cards' first game of the season is Saturday, August 30th. They'll take on EKU at L&N Stadium at 3 p.m. A lot of people looking forward to that game. Excited to see what the Cards will do this season. Well, fans who have never been to a Lou City or a racing game now have a chance to earn a free ticket. The pro soccer clubs have teamed up with Kroger to create the First Ones on Us ticket initiative. So all you have to do is visit the Racing Louisville or Lou City websites, find the newcomer form, and fill it out. Then a representative will contact you to confirm your eligibility, and they'll get you a ticket. Club leaders want this program to open access to fans who have never experienced a live soccer match firsthand. And the club president, James O'Connor, said in a statement, quote, "We want Lynn Family Stadium to feel like home to everyone in Louisville. We hope the city embraces this offer and helps us fill the stands as we come up on a number of important nights for both teams." And speaking of those important nights, there are 3 home games scheduled at Lynn Family Stadium next week. The first one is on Tuesday when Lou City hosts an international friendly with Germany's Eintracht Frankfurt. Next Friday, Racing hosts Kansas City Current. Lou City then returns to the pitch to host North Carolina FC on Saturday. Details on tickets and the theme nights can be found over on Lou City and Racing's website. So a great excuse to get out to Lynn Family Stadium, and I'm sure you will be blown away by how incredible that venue is. Well, Fat Friday Trolley Hop returns after a 6-year break. It's a celebration of the Clifton and Crescent Hill neighborhoods and their small businesses. The first hop will return tomorrow. The free trolley rides will run in loops from the Melwood Arts Center along Frankfort Avenue on Brownsboro Road from 4 to 9 p.m. You'll be able to shop and eat at many of the places offering special promotions and discounts during the event. Well, New Lou Nights launches this week, inviting more people to come out and check out the district shops and restaurants. The evening series will feature live music, pop-up art exhibitions, and plenty more. Participating businesses will even stay open until 9 o'clock or later. So the first New Lou Night is tomorrow, but don't worry, there will be more in August, October, and December. So that can also give you an excuse to get out and do some holiday shopping. Well, that's all the time we have here for Wave Sunrise Extra. We actually will be back streaming at 8:30, a very special announcement coming up. So make sure you tune in with us. We'll keep you updated with that here on Wave Now and on our website, wave3.com. But for now, thanks so much for joining us for Wave Sunrise Extra. Hope you have a great Thursday.